2022 hasn't been the strongest year for cryptocurrencies. Over the past year, the digital currency has lost 62.84% of its value, and now more bad news. Binance Coin has been hacked, and the digital bandits made off with 2 million Bitcoin tokens. That's about $568 million. It is the latest in a series of security incidents targeted at digital assets. According to Changian Zhao, the billionaire co-founder of Binance, the crypto heist took place on a bridge between blockchains and has been contained. According to him, that's what he said. But then, how contained can crypto theft be if criminals have hacked about $2 billion of Bitcoin so far this year within the same spectrum? So we have Atose, who is a player in the digital space and, of course, an analyst who is joining us this morning to understand what is actually happening in the crypto world. It's a pleasure to have you, Ola.
Yes, very good morning to you there. It's good to be with you.
Now, blockchain, the technology which powers cryptocurrency, is supposed to be the safest method of transacting in the world. But then how do we now explain the fact that about $2 billion worth of money has spoof gone into the air within the same, that's the eco space, that's the crypto eco space now?
Yes, it is a shame that we continue to see, these hackers taking advantage of vulnerabilities, within the chains. Yes, I would agree. Cryptocurrency, digital assets transactions are still the safest type of transactions there are. However, with some of the more innovative standards which are being introduced, as you mentioned earlier, the cross-bridge transaction, which in essence is moving digital assets from one blockchain to another blockchain. That process requires a centralized storage facility, which in itself can be opened up to vulnerabilities, because the funds which are being converted from one chain to the other have to be stored centrally for that process to take place. And of course, whilst that's happening, some obviously hackers, some individuals have decided to take advantage of that, and that's sort of where we've seen the losses in the recent one, obviously on Binance, of roughly, as we've come to understand, $100 million worth of coin being stolen. I might add that $7 million of that's been frozen, which is some good news. But again, one of the points which was made when we saw theft like this, I think back in July, was that the security protocols around cross-bridge transactions are not fully developed yet, and more time is needed in this space. It's still very much in its infancy. More time is needed to for the analysts, the specialists, and the security specialists to understand more about the technology and make it more robust. We also have to bear in mind that a while ago, the preferred method of these hackers was to attack centralized exchanges. But centralized exchanges have since learned how to make things better, how to improve security, and centralized exchanges now, such as ours, are one of the safest places where you can actually transact, on cryptocurrencies. But again, there's still a lot to be done in that cross-bridge space where we're seeing these sort of thefts taking place.
Well, make me understand this. I want to be sure blockchain transactions are encrypted, right?
Sorry, come again?
I said blockchain transactions are encrypted.
Yes.
So when you have this kind of transactions, don't they have digital footprints that can be traced so that it can be prevented when it comes to being hacked, when transactions take place? So can these prints be traced so that it will prevent any sort of breaking into the banks and stealing people's money? And can those people, that is the culprits now, be apprehended, so to speak?
Yeah, so you are right. The cryptocurrency transactions are encrypted. There is a need for consensus across the blockchain for any transaction to actually go through. So that point should be mentioned. That is the truth. However, these particular transactions, which involve moving, transferring value of funds from one chain to the other, there is a centralized storage process, which isn't, if you like, decentralized. That centralized storage process is what's open to vulnerability, and that's what the hackers are taking advantage of. right? So it's like you're trying to move value from one blockchain, which on its own has all its facilities of encryption, of confirmation and consensus, to another chain. So the process of moving requires, centralized storage of funds. That's what's open to vulnerability, and that's what we need to study more. More research is required, in my opinion, to try to understand how we can make that safer and how we can protect it from the hackers. And there's a lot of work going on, obviously by the likes of Binance, who suffered, the hack in the early hours of this morning.
Let's tie this to the metaverse. When cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology first broke into the mainstream consciousness, it was relatively small and opportunities for thefts were limited. But now we have a wider ecosystem with several metaverse products and technologies available. So is it possible that the metaverse has grown too quickly for it to be able to defend itself from criminal activities?
Well, with regards to the metaverse itself, it would really depend on the underlying, chain, if you like, or the underlying smart contracts, which a number of different artifacts within the metaverse are running on. So the dependencies on, the underlying technology, I wouldn't say it's growing too fast. I think we're still in very early days, very access to the metaverse, which people have currently. And at the end of the day, I think we are in that sort of, pre-expansion, or if you like, pre-explosion phase, where the metaverse will eventually become, an everyday tool in people's lives as it solves a lot of the concurrent issues we have, be it in finance, or ownership of property, and a number of other, requirements we have in our day-to-day lives, which the metaverse, as say, solves. So at some point, there will be more maturity in the space, and not just maturity in terms of access, but we're actually looking at things like regulations, and of course, looking at the maturity of the technology itself.
So have steps been taken by the stakeholders and the co-founders and founders of this crypto world? Have they taken any steps to ensure that the metaverse, the crypto world, is safe from cyber theft?
Yeah, so all of us, a lot of us, a variety of committees, the different communities that exist, working, all the time on looking for ways to solve the vulnerabilities that we know exist. So it's an ongoing process. Yes, the community is getting bigger by the day. There's a lot of money, as you just mentioned, 2 billion lost, on cross-chain bridges. But at the same time, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. We have to proceed. We have to continue, on this journey. Again, a lot of problems are being solved. Monetary issues across Africa right now that we see specifically. We are solving these problems. Security, of course, is our number one, concern. But we do everything we can to ensure safety of funds, safety of our funds, safety of our client funds. We at the moment are not really involved in much, cross-chain transfer of funds. But at the same time, those who are involved in it have to find a way, and they are concurrently working on ways to improve the security and improve the technology. So it's an ongoing. It's ongoing. Again, the technology, a lot of it is still very young. It's still in its infancy. We're going from smaller communities to larger communities every day. And the onus really is on all of us to find a way to, up that security. And again, as I say, the process continues. It doesn't stop. We're constantly innovating, constantly looking for new ways to improve security, constantly looking for new ways to protect our consumers, and of course, protect our business.
So currently, Ola, what impact these heists have or had on the crypto space? Do you see the investors or the potential actors continuing the investments within the metaverse space, or you see them pulling out their funds?
Well, I think whether it's digital asset space as it is, metaverse projects, of which there are several, I think we will see more investment. There are a number of reasons for that. At the moment, we're in what's called if you want to call it a crypto winter or bear market, right? Bitcoin itself, we've seen it lose 69% of its value over, the last year, if you wish. And at the end of the day, this happened before, right? We know there are going to be cycles like there is in all markets. It's not just the, digital assets or crypto markets, which is suffering losses. All markets are suffering losses. And we know that at the end of the bear cycle, we're likely to come into the next bull cycle, right? So a lot of innovators use this period as a moment to, find better solutions to security issues, find better solutions for client requirements. In my case specifically, we're always looking for solutions to the variety of monetary issues we suffer from, which your last visitor just mentioned. So we're constantly looking for these solutions and ways to solve the current, not just the issues we see in sort of the monetary space from our perspective, but issues across the entire industry with regards to the metaverse, with regards to blockchain, digital assets. The innovation continues, and there's a lot of it going on right now. So, as you mentioned earlier, investors are actually more keen now than they've ever been to get involved in this space because they can see the multitude of solutions that digital assets or the digital asset economy, if you like, the multitude of solutions that we're bringing to the table to solve everyday, monetary issues, amongst other things. So investors are excited about this space. They're eager to get involved in what we're trying to do, and they're constantly encouraging us to improve on what we have. So it's an exciting time for the community, and of course, we're glad to be a part of it. And we constantly offer education with regards to security on our platform, for example, 2FA, which is two-factor authentication. We always advise everyone to employ that. We have a vault service for our custody systems for all coins. And we have, fingers crossed, we've not been hacked. Yes, people have attempted to hack us, but our security protocols have worked perfectly. So we are in a good place, and we're certainly excited about what we have to offer in the weeks, months, and years.
Well, Ola, even with the firewalls and the two-step authentication, money still gets missing from these digital wallets. But then it does not take away the fact that the handlers of these platforms will do as much as is needed to protect people's funds. But then thank you so much, Ola, for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.